A warm good morning to one and all. I welcome you all today for the day first of second International Conference on Emerging Technologies in Computing, ICETC 2022, organized by Brainware University, Kolkata, West Bengal, in association with Institute for Asian Research and Publication.
Ma'am, we can't hear you.
Hello? Hello, am I audible? Hello?
Pooja ma'am, you are muted.
Hello?
Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Yes. Sorry for the inconvenience caused. Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to day one of second International Conference on Emerging Technologies in Computing, organized by Brainware University, Kolkata, West Bengal, in association with IFERP, Institute for Engineering Research and Publication. About Brainware University. Brainware University, Kolkata, a part of a 32-year-old leading educational group of West Bengal, started with the aim of contributing to nation building through research, innovation, and quality education. The Brainware University is established in 2016 as a UGC recognized private state university in West Bengal. Offers over 60 PhD, PG, UG, diploma, and skills programs to over 10,000 students on its state-of-the-art, sprawling, green, ragging-free campus. It is the brainchild of Mr. Falguni Mukhopadhyay, its hands-on chancellor, whose acumen and vision have transformed Brainware University into one of the best crucibles of learning in a short period of 5 years.
Sorry for the interruption. Pooja, just a minute.
Sure. Hello. Day 2. Okay, fine. சரி எப்படியும் யூனிவர்சிட்டி பத்தி எல்லாம் டே 2 சொல்லுவோம்ல இல்லையா? யூனிவர்சிட்டி பத்தி எல்லாம் டே 2 சொல்றது கிடையாதா? ஆமா. ஓகே இல்ல Hello, am I audible? Hello?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Sorry for the technical error. The university provides a well-stocked library with national and international journals, providing adequate resources to the students for academic pursuits.
Education is incomplete without sports and recreational activities. Brainware also organizes seminars, workshops, fests to unleash the creativity of students. To tap into their hobbies, students could also join different types of clubs like photography clubs, tech clubs, communication clubs, and more. Even in this pandemic situation, the education process has never stopped. The online classes help the students continue their courses uninterruptedly. The Department of Computational Science is one of the largest departments of the university, established in 2016. It offers bachelor's programs along with master's and doctoral degree programs. It provides an extensive program that highlights algorithms and theory, operating systems, computer networks, advanced computer architecture, machine learning, data mining, information retrieval, and NLP, computer security, data structure, and various programming languages. The solidity of the CSS department involves high faculty-student ratio, state-of-the-art resources, strong focus on undergraduate and postgraduate education, and significance on leadership, ethics, and service. Major achievements of the college. The Department of Computational Science often collaborates with the industry organizations such as National Association of Software and Service Companies, Noida, UP, Nature Technologies Private Limited, Kolkata, Lodestone Software Services Private Limited, Ahmedabad, Gujarat, Optimized Solution Limited, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. The department have organized various value-added courses on machine learning, web development, full stack, advanced Java, PHP programming, MySQL with Code Igniter framework. Virtual industry visit in association with EDP Software Limited was also organized by the department. It offers online workshops and works in association with IEEE Student Branch Program. About IFERP. Institute for Engineering Research and Publication is one of the world's largest non-profitable professional association meant for research development and promotion in the field of engineering and technology. We are a platform to promote the advancement and dissemination of knowledge of engineering and technology. IFERP is a professional association and a forum where innovations and research interests could be supported and developed, prioritizing our mutual interest. Our forums and associates constitute professional leaders and organizations connecting each other with mission to work as wizards of science for defending the earth. IFERP provides a world-class platform for scientists, researchers, academicians, business figures by organizing conferences and publishing research articles. IFERP conference brings together the professional wizards and leaders who have explored all avenues of reinforce and field of applied science, engineering, and technology.
To IFERP, a forum where innovations and research interest could be supported and developed, prioritizing our mutual interest. In this video, we want you to dive into our world, giving yourself a clear insight into IFERP. But first, who are we and what do we do? Institute for Engineering Research and Publication, IFERP for short, is one of the world's largest non-profitable professional associations operating under the Techno-Elite Research and Development Association, TRADA, meant for research and development in the field of engineering, science and technology. We are one of the largest professional bodies for engineering professionals in India and across the globe, established in 2014. We extend to every part of the globe, with more than 28,000 professional members and 34,000 student members. Our growing membership at IFERP has led to an increase in members from Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa and the USA, fostering networking opportunities that strengthen ties within and across countries and technical communities. The mission of IFERP is to connect professionals at an integrated platform for growth to divert knowledge and skills towards the sustainable application of professional education and more. And our vision of digitalizing innovation processes through our professional networking services and more has pushed us forward to our achievements today. With our mission to make our academic services reach the top and grassroots level of institutions, We are funding colleges to organize conferences and scientific events, enabling researchers incubated at different areas of our country to directly contribute towards the transformation of India. IFERP simply connects engineers, exchange global innovation, and acts as a bridge between researchers and academics by organizing international conferences, world conferences, faculty development programs, webinars, seminars, providing membership, and more. Some of our conferences include WCASET Malaysia, WCASET Jakarta, ICASETAM APU Malaysia, and many more. We've also organised scientific events in association with renowned universities done in the past, with over 28,593 journal publication services, creating opportunities to get your research paper published in high impact factor journals such as Scopus Indexed, Web of Science, Google Scholar Index journals, ESCI, UGC approved, L Compandax, ISI, Shimago Index journals, and many more. To make our operations smoother and more perfect, we have been supported by our associated organisation, Association of Cloud Technologists, Global Association of Nanotechnology, International Association for Big Data Analysts, International Association for IoT, International Wireless Network Association, and World Association for Structural Engineers. We have also worked alongside several clients and partners both nationally and internationally like University Malaysia Sabah, APU Malaysia, UNJ Jakarta, MC University Thailand, Ajman University Dubai, PUP Philippines, IIUM Malaysia, ISU Philippines, FCPC Philippines, WCC Philippines SRM University, Galgotia University, Amity University, and much more government and private organisations in different countries. At IFERP, we believe that there's always a better way to treat professionals, and that is what we do. If you would like to see more or go deeper on IFERP, you can visit our website at www.iferp.in.
Thank you for watching. The International Research Conference is a federated organization dedicated to bring together a significant number of diverse scholarly events for presentation within the conference program. Events will run over a span of time during the conference depending on the number and length of presentations. With its high quality, it provides an exceptional value for students, academics, and industry researchers. This event will serve as an invaluable platform to raise awareness about upcoming innovations in various fields of computer science and engineering. The conference will feature online paper presentation as well as keynote speeches by prominent speakers who will focus on related state-of-the-art technologies in the area of the conference. Benefits to the delegates attending the conference. Learn and improve skills and knowledge about respective domain. Learn and improve skills and knowledge about strengthening your network. Chance of communicating with the experts from various domains under one roof. Generate new ideas, refine the concepts, and solve issues associated with a problem. Improve presentation and communication skills. Inspiring and educational to meet academic role models. The theme of this conference revolves around bringing management, economics, engineering, and business technology research areas synchronically on an indivisible platform. This conference will draw collectively research fellowships from diverse fields and unitedness to share their research findings and latest ideas. Unitedness to share their research findings and latest ideas. The main intention of this conference is to integrate interdisciplinary inquiry to deliver the best applications. The conference aims to raise globally and national awareness on sustainable development challenges and the crucial role of strong global partnerships and cooperation as powerful enablers of the successful achievements of all the SDGs. Now, I would like to welcome our dignitaries. First, I would like to welcome our college dignitary, Dr. Sandeep Roy, Associate Professor and HOD, Department of Computational Science, Brainware University. Welcome, Sandeep, sir.
Thank you, Pooja ma'am. Good morning, all. We
Good morning,
welcome
sir.
all to the second international conference on the emerging technology in computing, ICETC 2022, organized by the Department of Computational Science, Brainware University. We
Thank
all
you, sir.
thankful to the Institute of Engineering Research and Publications, IFERP, for supporting us to organize this conference. The major focus of this conference is expected to bring together researcher, educator, students, as well as the persons from industry to discuss, share, and promote current work relating to the applications of the technology with the recent developments in industry and job market. So, thank you all keynote speakers, delegates, researchers, and participants for supporting to become successful of ICETC 2022. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to welcome our honorable keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Tariq A. Rashid, CSC Department, School of Science and Engineering, University of Kurdistan, Hewler, KRG, Iraq. Welcome, sir. Next, I welcome our honorable technical session chair of the day, Dr. Gomadi B., Associate Professor, Department of Information Technology, Hindustan College of Engineering and Technology. Thank you for joining us even during this pandemic situation and imparting your expertise with us. I would also take this opportunity to welcome all our presenters from across the world who have spared their valuable time in enlightening us with their latest research studies. I would also like to welcome all other attendees who are joining us today. Welcome you all. I request you all the attendees and dignitaries to turn on the camera for a group photo. Please turn on the camera. Thank you, everyone. Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
I request once again everyone to turn on the camera, please. All the attendees and presenters today. Thank you, everyone. So move on to next. Next, we'll move on to our keynote session of the day 2. I would like to welcome Professor Dr. Tariq A. Rashid, CSE Department, School of Science and Engineering, University of Kurdistan, Hewler, KRG, Iraq. Dr. Tariq A. Rashid received the BSc Engineering degree from Mosul University and his PGD computing degree from Griffith College, Dublin in 1999 to 2001. He received his PhD Computer Science and Informatics degree from College of Engineering, Mathematics and Physical Science University, College Dublin in 2001 to 2006. Currently, he is a professor at Salahuddin University, Erbil, Howler, Kurdistan, Iraq. Sir, I welcome you to provide a keynote speech.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pouza, for introducing me. And thank you very much for Dr. Sandip and all your colleagues. Actually, I'm delighted and enormously delighted to participate in the second international conference on the emerging technologies in computing ICETC 2022, Brainware University, Kolkata, which is organized by Brainware University, Kolkata, West Bengal, in association with the Institute for Engineering Research and Publication, IFERP. By and large, in this era, the Internet and Internet of Things, advanced and smart technologies, and other advancements in emerging technologies in computing have become the most indispensable parts in our life. I'm certain that this conference will provide researchers and scholars with an in-depth insight into theoretical and practical backgrounds now related to emerging technologies in computing. I wholeheartedly appeal to all participants and organizers to move forward to conduct further research and advanced work in emerging technologies in computing. So my special thanks again to the organizers for their wonderful event and for their great effort actually in making this scientific event more successful and remarkable and stimulating. Many thanks again to all participants and to all presenters who are presenting their work, and I wish them all the best. Thank you. If I could share my can you see it? Can you see it? Hello? Can you see the presentation? Hello?
No, sir.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes, we will hear your voice.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes,
You
yes.
are audible.
And can you see the screen?
Yes, screen is visible, but there is
Very
no
good.
presentation.
Very good. Thank God. Thank God. I had a big problem this morning.
Now
All
presentation
right.
is.
So, but you can see the title, yeah? Is there?
Yes, yes. Presentation has been there.
Is it there?
Yes, yes, it's there. This is there. Now it's full
Great.
screen.
Thank you very much. I will start. So the title of today is the essence. Yeah, very good. So the title of my presentation, or my seminar for today, is the essence of using an emerging nature-inspired algorithms, types, applications, and problems. So I'm Tariq Rashid, as it was introduced earlier. I'm from Computer Science and Engineering Department, University of Kurdistan, Howler, Iraq. So I'll take you through my agenda. I will talk about introduction about this area. It takes a few slides, and then I highlight issues of this area. And then I will talk about the objectives and the main aims in our work. And I will show you some novelties and contributions that myself and my research team have done. I will also talk about the types of nature-inspired metaheuristic algorithm. And also I will take you through some real world problems or applications. And then I end up my presentation with key concluding point and future work. Now, the introduction, these swarm intelligence and bio-inspired algorithm, they can formulate a hot topic. Hello. Sorry. Can you? Sorry, there was a disconnection. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir, it's okay now.
Great, sorry for that. So I'll go through the introduction. I mean, I was talking about the swarm intelligence and bio-inspired algorithms, that they formulate a hot topic in the scientific community. So these are algorithms, and they were taken from biological, physical, and chemical system in our life. Now, therefore, it is important to call them as a swarm intelligence-based, bio-inspired-based, physics-based, chemistry-based, and they are depending on the sources that we are taking these inspirations. Now, well, not all of these algorithms are very active or very effectual. Some of them are very good. They have shown very good capability in dealing with real-world problems, but some others are not. So, but still the research in this area is very active. Why? Because there are so many problems, and these problems are increasingly growing in terms of complexity, in terms of size, dimension, memory, time-wise. So these problems are growing increasingly and drastically. And the current algorithms that we have might not be able to solve them. Therefore, we could say that nature-inspired algorithms have done their job, and they have been there for us, and they will do the job again for now and in the future as well. So therefore, it is there is a potential that we can work in this area, and we can form more algorithms, and we can inspire. I mean, we can take more. We can take a lot of inspiration from the physical sources, biological sources, or chemical sources in the nature. Now, the current algorithms that we have, some of them called artificial bee colony. There are variants of it, and there's also fair fly and strawberry algorithm, plant propagation algorithm, and there's also seed-based plant propagation algorithm, and there are many others as well. These algorithms are effective, but if you compare them to the old algorithms or traditional algorithms, such as genetic algorithms simulating annealing and colony and even particle swarm optimization, these are much powerful than the traditional one. So some of these algorithms have, a lot of parameters, which is somehow very good. Some of these algorithms are having less parameters, which are also they have some pros and cons. But then we need to be wary. We need to be very careful, because the number of these algorithms are increasing. So new algorithms are coming. So it makes it difficult for the users or the scientists to follow up or to which algorithm should be selected, because you have a lot of algorithms are coming now. Therefore, I believe we have to step back and see these algorithms, and we can make some comparisons or some differentiation with each other. So some of these algorithms actually nothing more, just recycling. So recycling or replicating of old algorithms. So they are not very, very important. Now, therefore, we need to have an action plan for the researchers. An action plan means that we have to make a framework, or again, by making a framework means that we have to form a framework whereby we can list all these algorithms and we can see them, how they perform in terms of accuracy, computation complexity, space complexity, power usage, and etc. Now, we have some of them already there, and we just need to verify them. And we don't have to replicate the old or previous works. So we need to make a framework based on some logical justification or mathematical explanation. Some of these algorithms lack of mathematical explanation. Some of them lack of logical justification. So therefore, comparisons is very, very important, and we need to work with them in a way that we can not be tempted to just go ahead and make a new algorithm without having a true and real justification in terms of logical science and in terms of mathematical explanation. And there should be an inspection all the time for these algorithms. Now, algorithms, we have two types, optimization algorithms. We could have traditional algorithms and evolutionary algorithms. Traditional algorithms, these are deterministic algorithms, so that we can say, the current state about it, and the next state you can predict it. It's deterministic, so about even the next step as well. And these algorithms are mainly, they do local searching, and they have a limited diversity in terms of the solutions. And they only solve specific problems. They cannot handle all problems. So, traditional algorithms, you develop an algorithm, they do tackle a set of problems or a particular set of problems, not all problems. And some of them also, they cannot deal with nonlinear problems, nonlinear applications. However, evolutionary algorithms, they are having stochastic behavior. It means that we know the state, but we cannot predict the next state. It depends on the likelihood, and also heuristics, so that we can have some information about them. And it has also a mechanism of randomization. So randomly we initialize the parameters and we work on them. And also they tend to find out optimal solution all the time, most of the time. Now, in this slide, I talk about the problems that we have in this area. We have problems whereby these problems having a huge number of parameters, dimensions. You're talking about 1,000 variables, okay, or constraints as well. So these are real world problems. Now, therefore, time, cost, and resource limitation makes searching every single solution for a problem an impossible task to find the best solution. Therefore, we need to go back to our nature to find out some behaviors, because in nature, intelligence related to the nature. A human being is one of them, animals, another type, and physical systems also chemistry systems, biological systems. These are all from nature, and there are a lot of behaviors that we can study and we can work with them. Therefore, developing these algorithms based on the nature is very, very important. Now, again, in this area, we have a problem whereby we call it exploration and exploitation. It means that we have exploration means that your algorithm searches globally. You have different districts or you have different neighborhoods, and your algorithm works out for a solution in all areas. Say, for example, in India, it checks New Delhi, it checks Calcutta, it checks Madras. Your algorithm works globally to find a solution. And what I mean by exploitation, it means that your area only works in one, your algorithm works only in one area, which is, say, for example, in your district or in your house. Just you searching for a solution in your house or in only Calcutta. So your algorithm would not go globally to search for other neighborhoods. Also, the level of accuracy and performance is not satisfactory, is not adequate. Diversity, when we talk about single objective optimization, that means you have one objective, one aim to optimize and find a solution, whereby as opposed to multi-objectives mean that you have so many objectives that you can work out your algorithm. Now, again, distance between non-dominated solution also not sufficient. There's also a problem. There's a gap between theoretical and practical background, also need to be concerned or need to be considered. There's a theorem whereby it calls no free lunch theorem. It means that when you have an A algorithm works for set of problems, P problems, while B algorithm works for another set of problems, P2 problem, for example. But then you don't have one algorithm that can cover or solve all other problems. And this one encourages us to work, to modify, to update, or even to renovate or bring new algorithms. Now, the main objective of this work that we are working with is to have an algorithm whereby can solve range of problems, series of problems, broad-based problems can be solved. We also need to have an algorithm whereby cannot fall into local optima or minima, not the best solution. Yes, your algorithm can find a problem, can find a solution for a problem, but not the best solution. For example, the routing. You go to home, you can select different routes, but then each route has, there are some routes two-sided, you can go very fast, some route one-side, it creates congestion or creates traffic. So it is important to find the best solution, not the local solution or local optima. Also, you need to have an algorithm whereby have less time, less memory, complexity. And complete means that your algorithm must find a solution or has to find a solution. When we say completeness, means that your algorithm will find a solution, but might not be optimal, but still can find a solution. And then we use heuristic information to go about and solve this problem. Now, another objective of this work is to, survey or try to go through all rated works or previous works in the field. And also make sure that we find some mathematical model to make a balance between the equations of exploration and equations of exploitation, so that we can get a better accuracy, performance, less time, less computation, less space memory. And also we have to handle NP hard problems. And this is kind of NP hard problems. So this is really a very complicated area, very complex. We're talking about an area whereby it's more related to research work. There is, NP hard always very advanced. It's about research, more into research. Now, we have P problems whereby we can find solutions in polynomial time, like time complexity log n or n, big O is n, or n square, or square root of n. P problems. They could be found in polynomial time. Now, NP problems, these are the problems that they can be verified in polynomial time, okay? And NP hard problems, these cannot be, they do not have a solution in polynomial time. They have only solution in exponential time. So the big O, the computation complexity is too big. So n to the power n, for example, 2 to the power n or 3 to the power n, so exponentially. And this is costing a lot in terms of computation. So again, NP hard problems is a specific advanced area. It's not in the scope of our domain for this presentation. And then we talk about good diversity and distribution as well. Now, the contribution that my team and my research team has so far done, we came up with some good algorithms, ANA, and nesting algorithm, child drawing development optimization algorithm, evolutionary clustering algorithm, STAR, this is the advanced one. And we have DSO, and we have fitness dependent optimizer. And we have the last one, which is LPB, stands for learner performance based behavior. We developed this algorithm in terms of single objective and multi-objectives. Now, as I say, these algorithms are taken from the nature. For example, AN, based on Pythagorean theorem, which is integrated into AN nesting model for generating convenient weights that assist the algorithm in both exploration and exploitation phases. The algorithm outperformed PSO, particle swarm optimization, genetic algorithm, and other algorithms, other common algorithms. And the algorithms was subjected to many benchmark test function and also advanced test function. And it was used to solve two problems, a periodic antenna array design and frequency modulated synthesis. So these are two engineering applications. Now, again, nature-inspired algorithm has two types. We have single solution, trajectory-based, they call it, and we have population-based solutions, so that your solutions are in terms of population, not only one single solution that you have. We've got exploitation and exploration. We have some operators, mutation and selection in some algorithms can be used because they are kind of, we call them based on genetic algorithm. Now, these are the algorithms, like you can see the green ones, the developed one by our team, and the old ones there in black or gray color. So the examples that we developed as opposed to the old ones. Now, AND nesting algorithm developed recently. There is a leptothorax ant colonies prefer horizontal crevices and build nest within the flat crevices in rock that provide roof and floor of their dwelling place to defend themselves against, physical factors, physical objects or biological enemies. They wall themselves into their chosen crevices by encirculating themselves with a border of derbies of grain, which are particles, small particles of earth or small fragments of stones. They can wall themselves with that. The circumference of the wall is appropriate to comfortably house their population, which consists of a single queen. They have a single queen. They're very, very intelligent. They have been there for a million years. And they have also used young ant broods, we call them, up to 500 workers. Now, the leptothorax works, the behavior was taken from them and works like that. So worker ants are responsible for building new nests by controlling building materials, transporting them into the nest site, and then releasing them in the area around the queen. So they all put beautifully these, little stones or little derbies around the queen to protect the queen. Worker ants make a random walk. They do random walk within the nest until they face their nest mates or stationary building materials to deposit their derbies or the little stones. Now, each worker ant makes an independent decision about which direction to take around the queen for depositing the material. Worker ants lean toward the area with the most drop building. So they always go for the area whereby a lot of materials there so that they can put it there, they build their nest there. This is basically there are more details about them. There are more mathematical models. They are shown in the paper and you can check it for yourself. Now, in nature, I made this table. In nature, we have worker ant, which stands for search agent in AI, search agent. Deposition position, we call potential solution. Deposition position, specification, fitness function. Evaluate how this solution is good. That's fitness function. Worker ant decision factor, deposition weight, and fittest deposit solution, that's the optimal solution, the best, okay? And we have fitness dependent optimizer. That's another algorithm, which is also taken from the nature. And this algorithm, this phenomena happens in late spring. It is the process by which a new bee colony is formed. The queen bee leaves the old colony. They try to leave the old colony with a group of worker bees. The bees always, they try to move from one place to another place. And the process of moving, this behavior was extracted or inspired, and we use our algorithm out of it. So a swarm consists of 1,000 to 10,000 bees. Okay, so they go and they try to find a new place for this or new colony, and that's the queen bee send, or she commands the workers or scouts to go for search 20 to 50 meters to find a suitable place. Okay. And they will try to find a proper direction and work out with the best place. Now, again, the algorithm and nature, you can see the table. Scout bee means search agent, hive means solution. Do I have to share again? I'm sorry for getting. Can you see it? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Sorry for
Hear
that.
you,
There was
and
always
your screen is visible.
Very good. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. So LPB, this is, our nature, we have students, and students, you take, the students, when they are in the high school, they move into university, and they will be selected. There are some criteria to select the students, you know, their skill, their marks, their attendance, their homework, you know, and you always try to select the best student, you know, like you're trying to find the best, the elite, for example, a university, brand university, for example, Kolkata or New Delhi and Madras University. They're always looking for best from the top nationwide, the best students they will take. And the process of taking the best students, also the behavior was inspired us to develop this algorithm. So we have single objective learner performance-based behavior algorithm, and we have multi-objective learner performance-based behavior algorithm. Again, multi-objective means that you have more than one aim to solve. And I give you an example, for example, later on in later slides. So both versions of the proposed algorithm are evaluated against the benchmark test functions and real-world application. So the algorithm mimics transferring learners from high school to colleges and the process of, you know, selecting these students in those prestigious colleges, we call them. The main population is divided into subpopulation, and then we try to, we put the algorithm there, and there's also a flowchart and pseudocode for it in the paper. You can look at it. Now, the algorithm, this algorithm was performed for single and multi-objective, and they were compared or evaluated against DA, differential evolutional algorithm, PSO particle swarm optimization, and genetic algorithm. And genetic algorithm, there's advanced one, second, and other modes as well, or DA dragon fly algorithm. This is the algorithm that we designed. You know, how groups, best, good, you know, I wouldn't go to detail because it takes more time and I don't want to take, but the algorithm and results for this, I mean, they were evaluated against different benchmark test functions, unimodal, multimodal, composite, real world applications, a lot of tests they have been done. We took 5 real world problems, the 4-bar trust design problem. This is a 4-bar civil engineering problem. Shifting the joints and magnitude of the 4-bar truss should be minimized. So you have multi-objective now. The magnitude, the 4-bar, you have multi-parameters. And you can see the algorithm performed better in this application. Now we have the pressure vessel design problem, another mechanical problem. You know, we have the cost of forming material and welding should be minimized. So you have 2 cost function, cost of forming material and welding should be minimized. Again, that's another real world problem. This is the coil compression spring design problem. You know, the minimizing the volume of steel wire utilized to create the spring. And this is the speed reducer design problem. You know, reduce the volume and the stress in either of the gear shafts respectively. So optimization, how is done here, it's multi-objective. Sample of some results. Now, the car slide impact design problem, minimizing the heaviness of the car and the pubic force that passenger go through, and the V-pillar total velocity, which is in charge of resisting the impact load. So you can see multi-objective, multi-functions. Another algorithm, which is child drawing development. This is very, very interesting algorithm. I like it very much. This is cognitive, by the way. Cognitive, that means related to the brain of human being. And when we talk about intelligence, we relate it to human. Human is intelligent by nature. So this is an AI. You can call it a strong AI. I don't know if you accept it. So this is taken from a child, the behavior inspired by the child cognitive development. So the child, they have different stages from the birth, and they try to do a drawing, by, they go through different stages. And the drawing of the child, there's a relationship or interrelationship between the drawing and their emotional or social and cognitive development. So there is always a relation between their emotional, their social, their cognitive, and the drawing that they do. So drawing development stages, it has stages, and we summarize them by looking at some references about the child or about the kids. There is a scribbling stage, which is from 2 to 4 years age. Random hand pressure they have. They just do random hand pressure. They just move their hand, movement and drawing. So it's not, it's scribbling. So nothing, they cannot do it. And there's also a pre-schematic stage, which is pattern memory. Here, pattern will come in. Controlled scribbling, say they have some control of their hand pressure. And then leaning shape, enhancement in the shapes, they do more development in the drawing. Then there's a schematic stage, which is a continuous practice. They do practice, they do practice. They know how to draw. And then they do drawing realism stage, which is 9 to 11 years old. A realistic drawing they do. They bring something else. They bring creativity to the drawing. So they bring their imagination, the brain imagination. So they imagine, they have a skill of creativity here. So they don't do something routine. And then they have pseudo-naturalistic. This is the last, which is adding more detail to the drawing. Like you do a drawing, but then you're adding more detail to it, more detail. This is more imagination, so more advanced. That's 11 to 13 years old. Now, but the job was based on mathematics. There is a mathematical ratio.
Professor, sorry for the interruption.
Nature and science.
Professor?
Yes.
So we would like to have the session to be a little more faster due to the time limitations.
That's fine. I'm done. I'm nearly done.
Sure, sir.
That's the golden steps. The golden ratio found by Leonard da Vinci, and we took that idea of mathematics and we put it into drawing. That's the algorithm, and this is the flowchart. You don't need to, know it right now. In conclusion, meta-heuristic are very important, very simple, very flexible algorithms. They do work in all areas. Your life is all about optimization. You select the best car, you select the best university, you select the best wife, the best husband, you select the best student to work with, best research team. So it's all about optimization, best flight ticket, and the future work is there. So we need to work. There are a lot of problems. We have to make a framework, as I said. We need to work with multi-objective problems, and these are the references, and this is the detail that my one, and that's the website. You can always go and check all the codes, all the algorithms with their PDF, the places that were published with the coding. And thank you very much. And I'm sorry if I took more than my time specified for me, but I had 3-4 times disconnected. I'm very, very sorry, and I really appreciate, and I wish you all the best and successful event, and all the best with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the session, and thank you for your valuable time, sir. Thank you for enlightening all the participants with the keynote speech. Next, I would like to welcome all the participants and presenters for technical section 3. We are moving on to technical session. I welcome Dr. Gomadi B, Associate Professor, Department of Information Technology, Hindustan College of Engineering Technology, as session chair. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We'll start the session.
Okay, ma'am. First, I invite Raktim Kumar Dey to present Cloud Economics, Minimize Capital Expenditure as well as Operating Expenditure and Make a Secure Green Cloud. Welcome, Mr. Raktim.
Yes, thank you, madam, to giving me a chance. I share my screen, just a minute.
Sure, please proceed.
Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Good morning, everybody. Just 1 minute. Okay. Full visible? Is it full visible? Okay, no. Now the slide is full visible?
Yes, sir. Continue.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Raktim Kumar De, and today my topic is cloud economics, minimizing capital expenditure as well as the operating expenditure, and make a secure green cloud. And I work as an assistant professor of Department of Cyber Sciences and Technology, and currently I'm pursuing in PhD from University of Kalani. I already have degree in MTech in CSE and MIA, MBA from Information Management and BE in Computer Science. I go directly to my topics. So today's the main purpose of the existing data centers today is the need for managing the critical data and operation, such as an organization database and emails, sending, all those things. As a result, reliability, that the ability for the servers for working properly and for not wasting the data is a critical interest for many data centers. The reliability depends on the many factors such as characteristics of the servers used for the data centers, infrastructures that obtains the powers deliveries, and also there's cooling those resources also. Servers and others computing devices need to continuous power supplies and less susceptible to the hardware breakage and all when the operating below a certain temperature. Such studies established a effortless expenses replica for the proper true cost of ownerships that calls true TCO, which is able to get implemented by economic forecasters as well as elevated high administrator for having the comprehensive of each of the equipments of data centers, prices compromises in investments as well as the cost of executions. These are my objectives, and then this is my outlines. True cost of ownerships, that's depends on capital expenditures and operating expenditures. TCU methodology, some I will talk about the methodology, and I'll show you some physical infrastructures, non-IT cost and IT cost also, and my future works and my some references. So we are living in connected everything era, that with the data centers rapidly expanding and depleting the employment resources. As an integral part of our urban community, they required abundant space, and we will remain the primary driver of global energy consumptions of the forces futures. This demand is disruptively during the both peril and the opportunities due to the COVID-19 pandemics. COVID-19 has altered the demands of digital infrastructures 24/7 around the world. What we learned from this previous economics dislocations, such as the dot-com burst or the 2008 financial crisis, is the data centers provide the adapt, emerge, the stay of resilience. Data centers investment is traditionally measured in the form of sites of total cost of ownership, which describes the sum of operations and the capital expenditure which involved in constructions and maintaining a data center. TCO accounts for all site expenditures includes in the data centers build and operations, such as total cost involvement is obtaining utilizations, installing, sustaining, depositing, and changing the IT and data centers assets. All those things has been measures. So what goes in TCOs? As there is a some I have already talked. There is a capital expenditure and operator, and there is a operational expenditure. Capital expenditures are major purchase as company. They are designed to used over the long time. That means, for example, there is a physical assets like as buildings, equipments, machineries, and vehicles, all those things. Operation expenses, that is day-to-day expenses as a company in cost to keep its business operations, like employee salaries, rent, utilities, such as taxes, that's local taxes, and cost of some goods solids. Okay, so capital expenditures cannot be deducted from your income tax purposes, while the operating expenses can be deducted from the taxes. So some methodologies I used to bringing the transformations of the effective of cloud technology of that is especially on the business, especially those run by the large companies. This is because large companies usually have more significant capital budgets. They are usually only capital constraints for unexpected media requirements or restricted some based on investors or the industries. We analyze the help of an assessment tools for a telecom company with a range of thousands employee. In these parameters, we will check the infrastructure management. When it comes for the industry infrastructure management, it is the core component that must be taken care of. Infrastructure management is of an organization is the management of essential operations components such as policies, processes, equipments, data, human resources, and external contracts for overall effectiveness, all those things. Service delivery and automations in all the information technology enabled services, this is ITES. The service delivery and the automation is an undeniable process. Consider the delivery needs to be a building consumes from the human resources, technical resources, and the time become a TDS also activities. So that's why we require some service deliveries. There is some applications management. Application management is one of the most important activity that is need to be carried out in the IT industry, there where the applications act as an interface between a customer's business.
Hello. Hello. So they allocated only 10 minutes for presentation, 2 minutes more, sir.
But I started just, is it already 10 minutes already finished?
7 minutes over.
Okay, 7 minutes are there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I finished
sir.
already almost. Okay.
4 minutes left.
Okay, fine. Okay. I'll finish tonight.
Okay.
There is some okay, fine. So improvement of IT agility that needs to be maintained, and security and privacy, which will be in, and discourse of application management and infrastructures. And then there is a operations budgets that's outline the funds of making business run efficiently, and the knowledge and the strength of the business of the for personal capacity of the business. And these are the some suggested expenses based on the arrangement of data centers covered by around 1500 square feet. That's comprise area of server enclosures of 600 square feet. This is the some physical infrastructures for non-IT cost. That is UPS, PCs, and all those things that cost around 31 lakhs for this purpose. And this is the IT cost for the application servers, DB servers, all those things that cost around 60 lakhs. And then the conclusions is the huge that since we computing the turnout of the necessity of huge convention or convention of awareness that exists around the expenses of data centers, such around the power necessary handling the data centers, and substantially the prices has to do with the price transmissions, workers, along with the software as well as authorizations of those holding those specific studies. And then we actually, this is the one of the prototypes would be applied for speculation on the real expenses of creating a novel scope for evaluating the prospective growth of the arrangement of the this kind of scope for examining the expenses of the these computations. And these are the some references of my slides. And thank you for listening to me also.
Thank you for the presentation.
Shall I stop
Next,
my sharing?
Sure,
1
sure.
minute, ma'am.
Okay.
Sir, you're taken a good work, sir. Really appreciable one. I have few questions on that work, sir. You have presented the problem, but
Yes.
what is the solution for that capital expenditure? How will you how you are going to reduce the capital expenditure as well as operational expenditure, sir? What is your plan, sir?
That's work is my future works, but I already told, because I have to examining all those arrangement. Yeah, where I have to low cost, whether it is in software technologies, whether I can use in IT assets, where I can there is some good IT assets will be there with a low cost. That means if I go for any Intel processors, that's cost isn't much, but in the same way where I can go for a AMD processor, which will be a cost, but works like more than maybe or equivalent to work like Intel's processor, but it's that then there will be a cost saving. That's why I'm saying this is a one kind of prototype has been implemented, and the real expenses will be created by some through some authorizations of the live specifications of the expenses.
How you are going to implement this work, sir? Whether you are going to test with a simulation environment or with a real environment? What's the plan?
Actually, this data has been taken from some real implementations. Actually, we are planning to do some work on with some vendors. Actually, then we think where is this been cost would be occurred, how much is been there. We try to implement this, but somehow there is some capital which been not implemented, or there is a capital that has been occurred. Everybody don't have small or big companies have, but small or mid-sized companies, they have to raise those capitals to make some good data centers.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, shall we move on to the next?
Yes, ma'am.
Next, I invite Ankita Dar to present a study on sentiment analysis using text summarization.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible, ma'am.
Okay,
Continue.
okay. Thank you. Good morning to all. This is Ankita Dhar. My topic is study on sentiment analysis using text summarization. So this is my short biography. Right now, I am working as an assistant professor in computational science department of Brainware University. I have completed my PhD in 2020, and I did my master's from West Bengal State University, and I passed into 2013. Then I completed my BSc in computer science in 2012, and my research interest includes natural language processing, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. So this work basically focuses on analyzing the sentiment polarities of Bengali block text. So we have done this work using text summarization approach. We have used some handcrafted features. That is, we have assigned some weights to the text, and then we have used some PageRank algorithm for scoring those weights to get our final feature set. And then we have used rule-based algorithm for classification, and we received an encouraging outcome on this data set. So sentiment analysis is basically an approach or the process of identifying the emotions or various sentiment polarities behind a text or a document. So it has many real life applications like social media monitoring, customer feedback, that is review, then product analysis, market research, and many more. But while working with Bengali text or Bangla text, we face various challenges. The first and foremost is finding a database related to our work. That is like sentiment analysis. While we are working in sentiment analysis, we don't find much data based on customer feedback or block text. We get data in non-Indic languages. So in Indic languages, to find the data is a real challenge. Also with that, we find a challenging portion of finding we don't find appropriate or suitable text pre-processing rules or resources for pre-processing our data. Like we don't have lemmatization, or we don't have stemmer for like standard tagger or stemmer or lemmatizer for pre-process our data. So these are the challenges that we face while working with Bangla text. Now, this is the proposed methodology. This is the diagram. We have taken some Bangla block text, and then we have tokenized those data. Then we have used stoppers removal technique for eradicating or discarding the terms that are not relevant enough with the content. And then we have used some feature extraction method on the text that we have received after pre-processing. And then we have used rule-based algorithm. And then we have categorized or identified the sentiment polarities or the emotions of the text. So we have downloaded, basically this work is done on a publicly available data set that contains 33,362 text that is tagged as happy, sad, disgust, surprise, fear, and angry. So it is basically Excel file. It has 3 fields like ID, sentiment, and text and sentiment. We have only considered the sentiment and the text associated with it. Now, after after downloading this data sheet, we have use some pre-processing techniques. So first, we have used tokenization to tokenize or splitting the sentences into individual words by using space as a delimiter. And then we have used stopwords removal technique. So we have considered available stopword list for Bangla. Along with that, we have also considered English equivalent word, English numeral, and Bengali numeral as a stopwords to eradicate those from our data set. So now, after pre-processing our data, we have used feature extraction technique to get or to extract those features for the data set. So we have used a term weightage formula. We have used this, we have considered the presence of a particular token in a particular comment, like for comment 1, comment 2, like individual comment, how much the token WI occurs. So that portion we have calculated. And then for we have also calculated the presence of Wi in a comment that belongs to a particular sentiment polarity. Like we have considered 6 sentiment polarities. So for each polarity, how the presence or the number of occurrence of Wi has been calculated. And then we have divided it by total occurrence so that we can get the term weightage from 0 to 1. So to normalize, we have used this formula. After getting this term weightage, after assigning weights to each term in a context, we have done page rank algorithm we have used for scoring those text. So the text which having maximum scoring will be retained in the summary or the final comment summary, and other text will be discarded. Since we are working with text, we will have huge number of words we get after tokenization. So various features or various words are there which does not relate or does not carry relevant information about the particular category that we have considered. So for that reason, we have distilled, or we have discarded those tokens that is not that carries not enough information about the category that we have considered, that the sentiment polarity that we have considered. So after page rank algorithm, we received our final feature set that we have passed to a machine learning software, that is Baker. So we have used this feature set to train our rule-based algorithm. We have used confidence factor like 0.50 and number of folds 5. This parameters has been based on trial error method. So 1 fold was used for pruning and 4 fold was used for generating rules. And then in Baker, we have used 5 fold cross validation and we have obtained 98.33% accuracy. So for this is the domain wise accuracy, that say for each sentiment how much accuracy we have received, and this is the comparative analysis of different classifiers. Like we have compared our result with naive based multinomial, support vector machine, and MLP, that is machine multi-layer perceptron. So among all the classifiers for rule based classification, that is part, we have received maximum accuracy. So in future, we can expand our study for more sentiment polarities, as well as for we can expand our study for other languages as well. Also, we can consider multiple languages. Suppose some data set contains multiple languages. We have used Bengali also, we have English also. So we can expand our study to categorize this sentiment polarities for multiple languages as well. So these are some of the references that I have gone through while carrying out my work. So thank you.
Ma'am, you have done a wonderful job, ma'am. I have few doubts in your work, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah. When you are doing pre-processing, if there is any incomplete data, how that will be handled in your work, ma'am?
No incomplete data. I have already, I have done this work on a publicly available data set. The work on the data set, the work is already carried out. Some work is already carried out. So they have made their data publicly available. So this data is validated.
So it's already just validated, you are directly using.
Yes, yes.
So when you are pre-processing data, what are the negative parts you are removing from the data set?
Like since we don't have any standard stopwords list available for Bangla, so I have considered one of the available list, and also I have validated it using some linguist. I have validated that data because there are some words in the list that is a in Bengali and in one character word. So when we are using that stop list as a stopword, so they are creating some words are getting replaced due to that particular character. So we have validate those stopword lists, and also along with that I have included Bengali numerals, English numerals, and English equivalent words, and then we have replaced those words from the data set, and then we have carried out our feature extraction methods on that data.
Okay. One more doubt, ma'am.
Yes.
When you are taking the statements from the data set,
Yes.
in some statements, the negative opinion will be given with help of positive terms.
Yes.
How that will be handled in your work, ma'am?
Actually, we have assign some weights based on the occurrence. So in suppose in a comment, if we get number of negative comments in a higher end, so that will be treated as a negative comment. Or since we have not considered only negative, positive and neutral, we have divided it into 6 category. So according to that, we have trained our system with this list, and then we have categorized them into those category.
Then what will be the application of your work, ma'am? Where you are planning to use it?
Right now, I'm planning to expand my work with other with a huge data set, because right now this data set only consider 33,362 data. So to make our system applicable in real world, we need a huge data for testing. So right now we are planning to develop a data set which would consider all the area, like data from all the segments, and then we are planning to test it and for use in a real world application.
You are using Vika tool for implementation.
Yes, ma'am.
You can go with some other that is Google Colab, Jupyter Notebook for the implementation purpose, no? Because it takes less time to do the computation. It's my one of suggestion on that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
What is the time? That is, what is the execution time of your work, ma'am? How long it will take?
Not much, because after normalization, we have reduced our data set into into some thousand data. Then after pre-processing and after page ranking algorithm, we have reduced much more than 1,000. So the execution time is not much. Right now, I don't remember the exact time, but it has taken a few minutes, not more than that.
In your data set, you are having totally approximately 33,000.
Yes, 33,362 comments, like Bangla block text we have.
Yeah. How much you are utilized for testing purpose? How much you are utilized for training?
I have used 5-fold cross validation. So in first fold, 1 part is for testing, 4 part is for training. In second fold, that testing part will go in training, and 1 set from training will go in testing part. So like this way, 5-fold cross validation has been carried out.
Is there any specific reason to use that folding, ma'am?
Yes, because training and testing, if I would use training and testing, suppose 60% training and 40% testing, so that testing part might contain some data that can use for training the model much better than that is already done. So in cross validation part, each set is being trained and each set is being tested. So this biasness of the result is eliminated in full cross validation.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am, shall we move on to the next?
Yes, ma'am. Proceed.
Thank you. So I invite Madhab Vadyopaday to present various security issues and its solution in the domain of fog computing.
Yes. I have some little bit technical issue. Okay. My screen is visible?
No, sir. Now it is visible, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you giving me a opportunity to present my paper. Myself, Madhav Bandyopadhyay. I'm working as a assistant professor in Brainware University. And today's my topic is security issue and its solution in the domain of fog computing. The content is...
Sorry for the interruption, sir.
Yes.
Can you make it as a full screen presentation, sir?
Okay. But I have some technical issue, ma'am, that's why.
Oh, possible, okay. You can make it, sir. Otherwise, continue, sir.
Okay. Yes.
No issues, sir. Continue with the present, please.
Okay. My topic and my content is fog computing, an architecture of fog computing, an application of fog in a real world, and loopholes in the fog architecture, and fog security techniques, and conclusion. Abstract is in society is moving Internet of Things, that means IoT devices, and fog computing is the suitable for dealing with the IoT devices. Fog computing is an extension of cloud computing, and fog represents the computing services near the end devices. Thousands of edges and devices are interconnected and take the services from FC. And those edge devices generated and the massive amount of data. The security of the crucial data and users' privacy is essential. And this article highlights a few possible security threats and all architectural levels of fog computing. Along with that, we discuss some solutions against the loopholes in fog security, and we aggregate all the solutions that will help in future researchers. Fog computing. Fog computing is an extension of cloud computing. Few researchers treat fog computing as edge computing. Nowadays, billions of users and use fog edge enable IoT devices, and simultaneously, a trillion GB of data is generated every second. That massive amount of data is needed to be secured, and IoT has become popular day by day. And Cisco introduced fog computing for the excellent management of the devices. A 3-layer architecture is suggested by Cisco that supports several real-life items like energy grid, buildings, smart city, etc. This is the one of the architecture of fog computing. The application of fog computing in real world is the fog computing is becoming a popular daily due to the advancement of the fog computing over cloud computing, like bandwidth, latency, and connectivity issues. Many reputed organizations prefer fog in a real life. Nowadays, almost all IoT devices are associated with the fog computing. Such applications widely used for the fog computing as a backbone of the entire system rather than cloud computing. The following example cover two major applications of fog computing. Vehicle ad hoc networks. The vehicle ad hoc networks is entirely based on the mobile ad hoc network. It is one of the type of wireless sensor networks, and VNet is the first introduced in 2001 to exchange an information via in car to car. All the vehicles have connected to the roadside unit devices. And VNet is generally used for road safety, roadside services, and navigation process. Car-to-car communication is most important in the modern transportation system. A smart city is one of the significant applications of the fog computing. The smart city consists of the several infrastructure like smart building, sorry, you can hear my sound? Hello?
Now we can able to hear you.
Okay. Sorry. All the smart devices are directly associated with the fog computing layer. The fog layers contains 3 layers. The first layer is the intermediate computing, which computes info at the fog node. And the second layer is the edge computing. In this layer, data is processed on the end devices itself. These are embedded system with the microcontroller or microprocessor. This is the one of the loophole in the fog architecture. That is the virtualization is the backbone of the cloud and fog computing, and several loopholes exist in the architecture of the fog computing. Therefore, the major loopholes include end user devices, infrastructure of the system, and network services and virtualization. This is the following tables and demonstrate the overview of the loophole in several areas. this is the one of the fog security techniques. This is very much important for my architecture level. In the authorization and authentication and the access controller, one of the is the privacy policy is also one of the most vital security aspect of the fog computing, and the intrusion detection system. This is the mechanism that will warn administrator about the malicious attack in the system in order to protect the system internally and externally. Virtualization is the one of the main technology widely used in cloud and fog computing, and the virtualization is nothing but a technique where a number of virtual machines is deployed based on the requirement. Next one is the data security. Data security is one of the significant challenges in any distributed computing environment. And another is the network security. The network is the backbone of fog computing architecture, and between the local infrastructure and end user, and a local infrastructure and core infrastructure of the nothing but the hierarchical network. And the conclusion is that this is the article covers the architecture of the fog computing in details. This one kind of is the review paper, and the few real life applications along with their working principles is also highlighted. And in this particular article, we have mainly focused on the security issues and its solution in different aspects. And this paper also highlighted the loophole in the every layer in fog computing. We also make a roadmap to future researchers that they can find the all related work in one umbrella. And this is the references list that can very helpful for me to finding this kind of informations. Thank you.
Sir, I think this is a literature work now, sir.
Yes, sir.
From this literature survey, what you identified as a positive and negative side, sir, of your work?
Hello.
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 Am I audible,
Hello.
sir?
Hello.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes. Please repeat the question. Hello.
Sir, you have completed your literature survey partner, sir.
Yes.
From this literature survey, what you identified, sir, or what you are going to take it as a important point for your future work?
Okay. Ma'am, one of the important thing is that
Hello. Hello. Pooja ma'am.
Ma'am, I think he's facing some network issues.
Network issue. Shall we wait and we will proceed with next participant, ma'am?
I will proceed with the next participant, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Next, I invite Indranil Sarkar to present survey on security challenges in fog computing. Indranil, you are there? Am I audible, ma'am?
You are audible, ma'am. You are audible.
Mr. Indranil Sarkar? Are you available?
Service call next participant.
Okay, ma'am. Next, we'll move on to Professor Vipin Mehta to present examination of heat transfer and pressure drop characteristic of different fins geometry. Vipin, sir?
Good morning, ma'am, and good morning, all the faculty members. Am I audible?
Morning, sir. Please proceed. Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Okay. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. Proceed.
My name is Vipin Mehta, and I am a PhD scholar in Rajiv Gandhi Pradyogiki Vishwavidyalaya, Technical University, Madhya Pradesh. My guide is Dr. Sanjay Katare, sir, and co-guide is Dr. P.L. Verma, sir. I am very glad to represent my research work in front of you and all the members. My topic
Pujama?
maximum amount of heat throughout the surfaces. Okay, so in my work we have to use different types of fins, and we have to calculate heat transfer, and there is so different fluid we are generally used to upgrade heat exchanger exhibition, the trial and mathematical investigation of the blade calculation, rectangular, three-side and round bodied, and its application was survey in current paper. This is very important to transfer heat from different fins geometry. So in my work, we have to find out the value of heat transfer in different fins geometry. Now, the main highlights of my paper is we have to find out first heat transfer and pressure variation. Heat transfer and pressure variation, we have to find out first values. Second one, we consider two phases, single phases as well as the two phases. Now, the third point, we have to find out performance of heat exchanger with rectangular, triangular and circular fins. Now, in literature review, we have to analyze various papers in which we have to discuss what are the various types of fins we are used in when we analyze the literature review. So we have to analyze what are the various conditions, which type of material is to be used to manufacturing the fins, which type of fluid we have to use, numerically explore, heat eliminate and the liquid steam from a gathering of fluid and punctuate blades that are perpetual on the level plate through incompressible air as working fluid. As we know that the main function of the fin is to transfer heat. As all of you see that we have to use fins in IC engine, internal combustion engine, refrigerator, radiators, and okay. Now, in this work, we have to use various abbreviations. Like at first, we have to use length of the fins, which is denoted by capital L. Second one, we have to use width of the fin. This is very, very important parameters. Third one, we have to use thickness of the fins, which is denoted by small t. Fourth one, capital H represent the height of fins. Next, diameter of fins, capital D. Density denoted by rho. Cp, specific heat of solids. Small k is the thermal conductivity. Dynamic viscosity, and mu is the dynamic viscosity. S, fin breathing space. And what is the different space between the two fins? Am I audible? Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. Continue.
Okay. Now, 1 minute, 1 minute. 1 minute, ma'am. Ma'am, actually some technical issues. Please wait 1 minute only.
Okay.
इसमें ये वाली जो स्लाइड थी, दूसरी स्लाइड ओपन करना जरा, ये वाली जो जो अभी डाउनलोड में थी ना मेरी, यहाँ पे दिखना है, इसमें मैंने अभी बनाया था, ये तो इस वाली नहीं, ये वाली था, मतलब ये डाउनलोड में है दूसरी वाली। दिख जाती है अगर दो विंडो होते हैं दिख जाती, और देखना इसका some problem is there. Okay, ma'am. So this is my experimental work. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Sorry for inconvenience. So this is my experimental setup in which we have to represent various points. Air inlet, represent the point number 1. Second one is the sign meter. Third point represent the inlet temperature. This is very, very important point. What is the surrounding temperature when we transfer the heat from one surface to another surface? So this is very, very important point. What is the temperature of surrounding? Okay. Now the next point is that what are the conditions? Fins are made of which material? As we know that there are different section is there, multiple nozzle plate we are use, air outlet is that, difference pressure tape nozzle, and hot water tank. So we know that in case of fins, we have to use heat transfer by conduction as well as convection. So it is very important to analysis the what are the various surrounding condition. In case of summer, as we know that the surrounding temperature is approximate 43 or 44 degrees Celsius. So these are the important point which represent. Now this is very important section in my work. So various empirical correlation we are used to find out the values. First one is the Nusselt number. Nusselt number is denoted by Nu, which is HL upon K. In this formula, we have to use H. H is convective heat transfer coefficient. This is the property of fluid. L is the length of the fin. Small k is the thermal conductivity of the fin material. Second number, which is known as the Reynolds number. Reynolds number can be found out from the relation rho UML upon mu. This is very important number which represent the flow is viscous or flow is turbulent. And the third one is pressure drop. How to find out the pressure drop? As we know that in fluid mechanics, we have to find out the pressure. When the air is flow at a particular pressure, so this is the relation which we'll use to find out the pressure difference, in which small f v raised to power 2 Cp upon 2. Now, so the next one is the result and discussions. So in this case, we have to analysis different conditions. We have to use pressure versus pressure variation versus flow varies. Pressure variation hoga, okay. So mass flow rate is 10. So we have to use this type of results. In next case, we have to use variation of Nusselt number with Reynolds number. As you know that Reynolds number, in which we have to consider the flow is laminar. In my work, we have to use the flow is laminar and Nusselt number. So Nusselt number, if we increasing the value of the Reynolds number, Nusselt number is also increased. So this is the results. And the third condition, we have to compare thermal resistance with Reynolds number. Thermal resistance versus Reynolds number. So in this case, thermal resistance, how much amount of heat is to be transferred via fins. So what are the various conductive resistance and convective resistance is there. Next one is heat transfer coefficient versus fin spacing. This is very important point. As we know that all of you see that in 2-stroke engine or 4-stroke engine, in bike engine or car engines, in case of bike, you have seen that some plates are there and the some gap between the fins. If we have to increasing the fin gap, okay, so the heat transfer coefficient is also increased. Means if the fin spacing is variation in the fin spacing, the heat transfer coefficient also change. Now the next point is the last one is the conclusion. So this is very important thing that we have to use 3 fins. So the standard figure of the blade is rectangular. So we have to consider along the 3-sided wall, the inability to pay width balance is 7 mm. So, okay, and the triangular fin heat we lowered gives the better cool rate. The result of the triangular fin will be maximum. So this is the very important. We have to use triangular fins or the rectangular fins or the circular fins. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir. In your graph, you are represented series 1, 2, 3, sir. What it represents, sir?
In series 1, we have to use water as a fluid. And series 2, we have to use water and zinc. And the third one, we have to use third oil. So we have to use 3 different fluids.
So instead of series 1, 2, 3, you can directly specify the term now, sir. So it will
Yes,
easily understand the graph.
G. We have to use this thing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your presentation.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. We'll move on to the next. I invite Dr. Adilakshmama to present clustering-based approach for identification of brain tumor in brain MRI images. Dr. Adilakshmama, are you available? I think we'll move on to next. I invite Regina Arya to present assessment of digital PLL using micrometer technology. Regina Arya?
Yes.
Please proceed.
Yes, sure. Good morning. Good afternoon, all of you. I am Rachna Arya, and my topic is assessment of digital PLL phase lock loop using micrometer technology. Okay. Now I am just hello. I am audible now.
Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Yes, please proceed.
Yeah. Okay. Now this is the bibliographies of and bibliography terms of all the parameters that I have gone through the papers. There are some parameters that are used in 45 nm technology, and some parameters are using 90 nm technology, and some of are using 120 nm technology. So my work is based on the 120 nm technology, CMOS technology. So this is basically the abstract of my paper, in which I am using the digital phase.
Sorry for the interruption, ma'am. Your screen is not moving, ma'am. It's still in first slide itself.
Okay. Now the slide is moving, sir.
No, ma'am. Can you make it as a full screen presentation, ma'am?
Yes, this is the full screen, sir.
What about Pooja, ma'am? Can you able to see the screen movement?
The screen is moving, ma'am.
It's not full screen, ma'am.
It is not full screen. How it is possible? Ma'am, now?
Now we
Could you please press F5, F5 and make it full screen?
Yes, ma'am. This is on my screen. That is full screen. I don't know what is happening here. Okay.
Now you are in 8th slide, ma'am.
I'm on the 4th slide.
Okay. Now we can see the abstract. Proceed.
Now, sir, it is okay?
Yes, ma'am. Proceed.
Okay. Now for the digital phase lock loop that is used for the clock generation, recovery, microprocessor, and input-output controls, and many of the systems we are using to phase or lock the input and output signal. So basically, it is a phase locking signal that is going to lock the phase of the input signal as well as to the output signal with the help of some feedback network. So we can use it for the wireless transmission, radio frequency transmission, and all type of transmission where we are going to use a fixed frequency circuit. So I am designing the circuit with the help of the 120 nm CMOS technology, in which in a block diagram, there is a PFD phase frequency detector for which the glitch is 1.016 nanosecond. I am using the first order filter, low pass filter, for which one the R1 value is 300 and C1 is 10 picofarad. So basically, I'm using the 5 stage of ring oscillators, in which the total delay is the 20.25 nanosecond and the oscillation frequency is 333 megahertz. And the supply voltage I am going to use is the 1 volt supply. We can also use to change the supply from 0.8 volt to 1 volt for 120 nm, but I am going to choose the value of 1 volt power supply. And now basically the first question arises, what is the PLL? and why we are going to use this circuit. So basically, PLL is a phase lock loop, and that is used to control the system with the help of feedback technology. So for the feedback technology, the input signal and the output signal both
Sorry for
are
the interruption, ma'am. Same
Yes.
issue, ma'am. We can't see the movement, ma'am.
Oh.
Now you are explaining 5th slide, but still it's showing 4th slide.
Oh my God, sir. So now, sir, this is showing.
Yeah, now it is visible.
Okay, sir. तो मुझे फिर लगता है मुझे ऐसे ही बताना पड़ेगा. Because in the full screen, I don't know what is happening. If I am just providing the F5 slide, then it's going to the, now this is showing, sir, what is PLL?
Yeah, it is visible.
Okay, sir. So we are going to synchronize the phase of the output signal to the input signal. So when the output and signal both are in same phase, then there is no error signal be generated, and the voltage control oscillator provide the same signal as the input signal. So basically the circuit is used to just log the input and output signal, and no error will occur between the input and output or the reference signal. So because the phase is locked to the input and output signal, this circuit is known as phase lock loop. Now the next slide, application. So sir, this is showing some. Hello.
Hello.
Now that's the application slides.
Oh, still it is in 5th slide, ma'am.
Okay. Now this is the applications.
Yeah.
Now there are many applications for the phase lock loop circuits, because we know that where we want to the fixed output circuit from any input circuit, there are some errors. So we have to remove that error with the help of this PLL circuits. So in every technology, like in the cell phones, TV, radio, computers, and all type of telephony circuitry, we are using the phase lock loop as a oscillator circuit. So use as a frequency synthesis in which we want to change some frequency to the another frequency. So for the speed control of motor, demodulation and modulation of the frequencies phase, we are going to use this phase lock loop. Now there are types of PLL. We have basically 4 types of PLL circuits. As based on the application of the components used, the first one is the analog PLL, in which all the components are analog in nature. In digital phase lock loop, all the components are digital in nature except the voltage control oscillator. The third one is all digital PLL, in which all the components, including the voltage control oscillator, is digital in nature. And the last one is the software PLL, in which we are going to analyze all the components in some type of specific software to deal with the input and output parameters of phase lock. Now my topic is digital PLL. So in which we are going to analyze a circuit with all the components, phase frequency detector. Now this is this one is the block diagram of DPLL, in which a phase detector component is there. Another block is a low pass filter, oscillator. This oscillator is analog in nature in spite of all the blocks. All the blocks are digital in nature. So this is the difference between analog PLL and digital PLL. The phase detector circuit is compared to the reference clock or the feedback clock and provide an error as shown in the diagram. And this error will generate the low pass filter. It is behaving like an input signal for the low pass filter. The low pass filter will bypass the high frequency component and uses the low frequency component. This low frequency component is oscillate to the oscillator circuit, depends on the control oscillator voltage, and then it will provide the output signal. If some error is occur, this feedback will again and again working for many times until this error will equal to 0. So when this error is equal to 0, the input phase and output phase are same. So that condition is known as lock condition. So these are the schematic. So now why DPLL? There are some problem with the analog PLL, so we are going to move for the digital PLL. So जो APLL circuits हैं, that cannot operate at very low frequencies. So we want to work with the low frequency signal. So we have to move with the digital PLL. So analog low pass filter, it is a very important parameter that analog low pass filter, to design is very complicated on the PCBs, on the designing for low frequency signals. So whenever we want to take the low lock time, we have to switch for the digital PLL or the software PLL. The most important thing is the self-acquisition. What is the meaning of self-acquisition? It means when the PLL is going to lock the phase, the time acquired by the phase lock loop or the circuit to acquire the particular output signal is known as the self-acquisition. So in all digital PLL, all analog PLL, it is quite difficult for achieve this acquisition time. As we know that the analog components have the low reliability, so it is not very sensitive for the input signal to the output signal. And with the help of the digital PLL, the size and the cost of the circuit is also minimal. So the next is the PLL schematic, in which we have basically 4 components: a phase frequency detector, a charge pump, a loop filter, and a voltage control oscillator. So I have already talked about the phase frequency detector and loop filter. Charge pump is a circuit in which we are going to charge the input current capacitor with the feedback current capacitor. Usko hum log, we have to just maintain the input and output current relatively. Now the next circuit is the phase comparator, in which we are just going to use 2 D-type flip-flops and AND gate. If when the both signals QA and QB are high, then the AND gate is provided a reset signal and it will reset both the D flip-flops, where A and B are the clock signals, and we are just providing the supply of 1 volt to the D flip-flop signals. Now this is the circuit of voltage control oscillator, in which I am going to use a 5-stage inverter circuit. So the output of the one inverter circuit is going to the fed back to the another circuit, and its output is again fed back to the another circuit, and this string is going on. So the time delay of one inverter is multiplied by the time delay of all the inverters. So the total time delay is 5 times into the one inverter delay. So I am working with the tenor simulation tool. So this is the diagram of the tenor simulation circuit, in which window I have worked. And now final the result and the discussion section. So this is the parameters which I use, and the value, exact value which I got from the simulation. So I am using the technology, that is 120 mm technology, with the help of 1 volt supply. So the power consumption of all the circuit means I am using the 5-stage oscillator circuits. So the power consumption of all the circuit means it is the power consumption of digital PLL, that is 1.08 milliwatt. I am using the center frequency for 98.76 megahertz, and the oscillation frequency I get, that is the 333.4 megahertz. So with the help of the center frequency, we got the much better the oscillation frequency. So number of stages of 5, and the glitch of the PFD I got, that is 1.016 to 1.42 nanoseconds. That is the most important parameter, the time delay. That is the time delay in the nanosecond, that is quite low. And that time delay is for not the one stage, that is also all the 4 stages, that is 20.25 nanoseconds. So the next work is the conclusion and the future work. So the conclusion is that with the help of the most scaling technique, we can just lower down the transmission time, the delay, and we can increase the efficiency and frequency also. So for the remaining the flat bandwidth, we are using to scale down the CMOS for further technologies. So DPLLs are very good in the phase noise. We have low power consumption because it is a digital PLL, not analog. We have a good tuning range at the mid frequency zone, because I'm just taking at the 93 point something as a mid frequency range. So it is very good at the mid frequency range. Lock-in parameters can be changed by the parameters of changing the size and the width of the transistor. By the scaling of the transistor, we can get the better frequency and better bandwidth. So for the future work is that by the scaling of the transistor, we can get the better factors, better parameters like frequency, range, and bandwidth and jitter. We have to minimize the jitter and perform the good locking range for the digital PLL. So now this is my next slide. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your presentation. On 14th slide, you told about the results and discussion. Under that slide, you have given only parameters. What about your results, ma'am?
So this is yes, sir. So this is not only the result. So this is the parameters which I have.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. It is only input parameter, no?
No, no, sir. This is the output parameters. So this is the glitch of the PFD is the output parameters. Delay time is the output parameter. Oscillation frequency is the output parameter. Center frequency is the output parameter. Power consumption is the output parameter.
So you can differentiate both the things, no? Input parameters, output. Then it will be easy to understand.
Okay, sir.
One more thing is you are compared with. You told about two types of phase looping, no? TPLL, APLL.
Yes, sir.
Am I correct? You can compare the values of the two techniques in the result and discussion session. No?
Yeah, definitely, sir. I will.
Okay. That will be better if you compare that one. How better you are proposed to work. That will represent.
So because I have also worked in the analog PLL, but for the paper was not about the analog PLL, so I just modified this slides for the digital PLL only. So definitely for the next time, I will compare the analog PLL parameters to the digital parameters.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for the presentation, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Yeah.
We'll move on to next. I welcome Pratik Bhattacharjee to present a short survey on smartphone-based activity recognition.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
So is my screen visible? Okay, I need to share it. Unfortunately, my display is not supporting the background, so that's why I have to go with the normal background.
Okay, sir. Please proceed.
So, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
কারো কাছে পেন ড্রাইভ আছে? পেন ড্রাইভ আছে কারো কাছে?
Okay. So, a very good afternoon to respected chairs and all my co-researchers. I am Pratik Bhattacharya and I will be presenting a short survey on smartphone-based activity recognition. Our team consists of myself, Ahana Ghosh, Dr. Suparna Viswas, Dr. Sandeep Roy, and Dr. Rajesh Bose. And I will be presenting on behalf of my team. So this is my short biography. I am currently pursuing my PhD in computer science and engineering from Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology, West Bengal. Okay. So initially, we know that in activity recognition is something which is very important in different fields of sensor and IoTs. So smartphone is one of the most popular devices that are used for this kind of activity recognitions. And I will just explain why the smartphone is the device of choice for this survey. So smartphones are very useful devices that are used widely. So that is a very popular one, and almost from child to an aged person, everybody is comfortable with smartphone. So another one is that the smartphone supports nowadays it is having a huge amount of battery, so typically 5,000 to 6,000 milliampere, and it is also having different type of sensors. So sometimes we call it as a sensor hub. So this sensor hub, they have a host of connectivity options. So we have different types of connectivity present in smartphones, such as Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and other kind of connectivities, normal cellular network. So these connectivity options typically enables to port the result, whatever we are doing at the IoT level, it can be easily ported to fog or cloud using this kind of connectivities. And a large amount of applications in the field of healthcare and robotics, and specifically in AI, where the automated monitoring of, say, patient or some kind of instruments are done. So maybe this kind of approach, although the device is smartphone, so this can be extended to other kind of sensor-based device also easily, all the applications that are developed on smartphone. So we have basically done a short survey on this smartphone-based human activity recognition. We have confined our discussion on human activity recognitions, and this can be monitored and recognized through different sensors using different type of machine learning and deep learning techniques. So that we'll slowly discuss. So let's move to the next slide. So this is one of the reasons why we have chosen smartphone as our survey base. So approximately 760 millions of smartphones are now operational. It's data from 2021. So the sensors, although there are certain applications built in the smartphones, but the capability of smartphone sensors are beyond something which we use for our daily life. There are a host of sensors available, like accelerometer, gyroscope, camera, and so many proximity sensors. So nowadays, they are coming in a very affordable price, because even the entry-level smartphones are containing this type of sensors. So we do not have to purchase any kind of external sensors for our day-to-day monitoring efforts. And moreover, this continuous unattended monitoring at affordable cost. So this is particularly very significant in this pandemic and post-pandemic situations, where usually we are reluctant to have caregivers for our senior people. So in that case, we will obviously go for some device which can which is capable of supporting the unattended monitoring. And of course, in a country like India, we have to keep track of the cost aspect also. Okay. And since most of the wearable sensor-based devices, we are having a host of wearable sensor-based devices which are basically capable of doing the activity monitoring, such as smartwatch and other kind of ambulatory devices. So basically, if we go with them, so the problem is that they are not acceptable, especially by the aged people, because they are not comfortable with the ambulatory devices. But the smartphone is loved by everyone, so this is a very popular platform of choice. Now, if we just have a discussion of what kind of sensors that we have concentrated on our survey. So we have found that the sensors are categorized into embedded and external. Okay, so some of the sensors that are built in, and some of the sensors are there which you can attach with the smartphones. And there are if we consider the sensors again into two categories. One is proprioceptive and another one is exteroceptive. So the difference between these two is that the proprioceptive sensors are the sensors which are taking their inputs from the body itself, okay, such as accelerometer, gyroscope. So they do not take the input from the environment, they take the input from the device itself. So wherever how you are tilting the smartphone, so based on that, the value of accelerometer and gyroscope will be changing. And there are certain type of sensors that we can see here. So suppose such as temperature sensor or ambient light sensor. Basically, they will be simulated from the external input. So there are two categories, and the researchers, some of the researchers are aligned to the first category, that is built-in sensors, and some will be external stimulation will be required by some of the other kind of researchers. And again, we can further classify them in terms of active and passive sensors. So active sensors are which are directly modified, and there are some kind of sensors are there which are passive sensors also. Okay. So we try to categorize the research papers into the different categories of sensors. So such as tactile sensors, acceleration sensors, thermal sensors, imaging sensors, and in each group we are having more than one sensors of that category. So it depends on the type of application, and specifically cost aspect was one of the major factor in our survey, that we usually avoided the approaches which are very costly. So then we are having acoustic, medical, hydro, to depend on what kind of model of phone you are having. So these sensors, maybe all of them or a few of them, or subset of sensors are supported. Next is this human activity recognition and monitoring and recognition, which is popularly known as HMAR. So this is basically it happens in 3 stages. First, the sensor data is collected. Basically, this may be a wearable sensor, or where this may be non-ambulatory sensors also. So this data, since the sensor data is very noisy, so the first one is the data pre-processing part, where we will be generally removing the outliers, and we are using some kind of filters to reduce the noise, and also the redundant data are removed. So basically the data is clean in this. And different researchers have used different type of techniques for these outliers, depending on what kind of approach they are taking. Okay, what kind of learning algorithm they are featuring. So after this splitting things, then the feature extraction stage is another one. So before processing the data, maybe the data contains a lot of features, so we may just reduce the number of features according to our requirement, so we can have the feature extraction. And then the feature selection, the feature is particular features are selected. For example, if we are going something like fall detection in by using, say, accelerometer and gyroscope. So if our device is taking the sensor data from different sensors, so we may choose to capture the data of acceleration and gyroscope only, just omitting the other kind of data. And then we will be applying any kind of modeling. So this learning model, some kind of model, so maybe a supervised learning or unsupervised learning, depending on that. So the type of data we have extracted is fed to the model, and the model may predict the outcome that depends on some kind of outcome, some kind of prediction. Okay, so different type of, as I work in a healthcare domain, so the type of prediction may be a fall prediction, or maybe a semantic analysis. Okay, so depending on that, what kind of sensor data we are using, so we can have appropriate predictions. And at last, obviously, the outcome has to be compared with the other kind of similar works that was done. So the research papers, most of the research papers, they have this comparison. And finally, from starting from acquiring the sensor data to finally performance evaluation, all the research papers has done their work. Okay, so these were the different stages that they have to cover. So when we are analyzing the different papers, so that was, we basically found 3 types of papers. So the researchers, some researchers were just confined themselves in static and dynamic activities. So maybe static activity may be some sitting, standing, etc. Dynamic activity may be running, walking. And then some researchers has focused on position and orientation based things, which requires the gyroscope data and other kind of magnetometer data, okay, compass data. So depends on what kind of data. And several types of sensor fusion were also done. So some of the aspect of sensor fusion were
Sir, you are not audible. Hello? Am I audible?
You are audible.
I guess there is some connection issues with this Pratik sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Shall we move to the next?
Actually, power cut was there.
Am
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Am I audible
Yes, sir.
now?
Please continue.
Okay, okay. I have to share the screen again. Is it visible? Screen.
Yes, sir.
So basically, I need to repeat a bit. Sorry. So when we we are just going through the research. So the researchers, all the research that we have encountered so far was basically divided into two groups. Some of the researchers, they have focused on static and dynamic activities. Static activities such as sitting or standing, or dynamic activities such as running or walking. Okay. And some researchers have made their using the position and orientation of smartphone. That is something like using the gyroscope and accelerometer. So these different type of orientation values can be captured. So some researchers has focused on those, and they can detect the position, say, suppose some kind of posture recognition. So that kind of things based on the smartphone data. And finally, some researchers, they have confined only some kind of different type of machine learning algorithm that will be efficient to analyze the data and have a very good prediction. So different type of predictive algorithms are formulated. So some of the researchers have concentrated themselves in designing and analyzing the algorithm for this activity monitoring and recognition. So these are basically, we have whatever research papers we have gone through, we have found these three categories of researchers. These are some of the learning methods. If we just segregate all the research papers, we have found that these are the learning methods, different type of SVMDT, KNN. And this type of activities that we can say that it is walking, running, standing, sitting, and then climbing the stairs. Okay. And then different type of inactive position, and then laying. Okay. So these are the amount of research that were done using this type of algorithm, SVMDT and KNN. So these are the research paper, and this accuracy where as we can see here that KNN and SVM shows the maximum accuracy among these three. And if we go to the next region, so these people have used the SNO, DBM, and ANN. So we have found the artificial neural network has the maximum type of accuracy here. And then we categorize this type in LR, MP, and NB. So here we can have the LR has the maximum accuracy, and other kind of categories where we can image based and other kind of image sensor based. So they are having CNN, ensemble, and RNN algorithm. So in that case, we found that in most of the cases, the ensemble based, and in few cases, the RNN based performs better. So these are the different type of learning approaches that we could segregate from the group of researchers, and this is how they are operating at present. Now, what is the future scope? As we can analyze the few papers, so we could identify that the future scope are in these three fields. One is personal healthcare, the commercial field, and the security area. So in personal healthcare, we are having health monitoring. So different type of health monitoring activities can be performed based on smartphone. As I have said earlier, that one of these health categories may be just analyzing the discrepancy in walking and then maybe predicting that a person may be having a Parkinson disease or some kind of thing. And if you are having some kind of continuous monitoring, then this disease monitoring, they can also be performed. Like a person may have a Parkinson disease and he may have a tendency to fall or having other kind of complications. So we can have a continuous monitoring if the mobile is kept with the person. And then if the person has fall down, maybe a fall detection can be performed with the help of mobile phone, and appropriate warning may be sent to the caregivers or the family members. Then we are having different type of sports activities, because we are having the accelerometer also, which can count the steps and other kind of activities. So some kind of sports monitoring is also possible with the help of smartphones. And there are certain kind of commercial field where you can have the HCI or human computer interaction, where in commercial field you can just predict what kind of things the customer is just having their tendency to buy, and you can predict depending on the movement, if you are tracking the movement of the customer maybe to particular direction. So passively you can predict that what kind of stalls are attracting most of the customers. So this kind of things. And in case of security, we can have a public safety. You can because we can have the machine learning algorithms for that can be used for anomaly detection. So in case of public safety, if we can gather the smartphone data, we can maybe analyze that some person is having running, a portion of person is running over there, and we can just predict that why so many people is running over there. That means there may be some safety problems. Okay, and this can be applied to both public safety and personal safety also. So these are the references that we have. Few part of the references that we have consulted, and basically the first two references were very helpful, and they are from 2020 and 2021. So that's all for my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for a presentation, sir. You've done a survey, or you completed the implementation part also, sir?
Yeah, implementation. We have also taken 2 patents based on fall detection. 2 Australian patents are there with the same authors that myself, Dr. Sandeep Rai, Rajesh Bose, and Suparna Viswas. So we have implemented it, and we have 2 SCI publications based on this fall detection, pre-fall prediction, etc.
What algorithm you used in your work, sir?
We have used 2 algorithms. One was SVM and one was CNN.
Okay, in a graph you showed many algorithms, no, sir? That is, you are taken from survey, or it is your work?
Survey. It's a survey. This one is purely survey. What we have seen, this is other people's work.
So in your survey, you told that ensemble and RNN is best when compared to CNN. What feature makes the 2 algorithms best when compared to CNN, sir?
Which one? This one is
Ensemble and RNN.
Ensemble and RNN. No, that is what they have claimed. That is the claim of the authors. This is what we have found. We have studied around 50 papers, so around 10 to 15 papers were there based on these 3 algorithms. So based on the accuracy that they have claimed, so
the algorithms may have some features, no, sir, which makes the algorithm best when compared to CNN. That features
that we have not analyzed. Actually, what we are working presently on, that is the sensor base. That is first one, SVM, DT, and KNA. Okay. So actually, this was only for our just parallel research form. So I'm not very aware of how these things works. That is only the data we got.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Next, I invite Indranil Sarkar to present survey on security challenges in fog computing. Indranil?
Yes, ma'am.
Please proceed.
I would like, yeah. Okay, is it visible?
Yes, sir, please continue.
Okay. Yeah. Good morning, all the respected delegates present here. Today, I am here to present my conference paper for the second International Conference in Emerging Technologies in Computing, that is ICETC 2022. My paper title is Survey on Security Challenges in Fog Computing. This is a short biography of mine. I am Indranil Sarkar. Currently, I am pursuing PhD from NIT Raipur. My co-author is my co-author come my guide is Dr. Sanjay Kumar from the Department of Information Technology from NIT Raipur. I have done my MTech and BTech from WBUT in the year of 2015 and 2013 respectively. Talking about my work experience, I have served as an assistant professor in CCET Vilai in the duration of 2015 to 2018, as well as I was selected as a TKIP sponsored teaching assistantship in JS College when I was pursuing my MTech also. Telling about the actual matter, that is the contents of this PPT. Throughout this session, I will be covered these areas, that is abstract introduction, architecture of fog, need of fog computing, followed by challenges, security privacy issues, open research challenges, and references. So this is the abstract of the paper. As per the format, I have included the abstract here. I will be covering all the topics throughout this session. Telling about the introduction, as we can see from the figure 1 from this slide, that in the year of 2003, the world population was 6.3 billion, whereas the connected devices was 500 million. But when we see the year 2010, we can see that the world population is 6.8 billion, whereas the connected devices is 12.5 billion. That means it is almost the double of this of the connected, twice of the connected world population. Lastly, in 2020, we can see that the world population of 7.6 and the connected devices is 50 billion. So this data is as per the Cisco IBSG group, that is Internet Business Static Group, Business Solution Group. As per the figure, we can see that the number of connected devices are growing more day by day because of because we have the internet connection is cheaply available to all. We have IoT devices. We have lots of data because of the IoT devices, and because of these connected devices, lots of data is generating day by day. As we can see that 90% of the world's data has been generated during the last 2 periods, out of which 40% of the data has come from the IoT sensors only. Talking about an example, my friend was doing research in connected vehicles. So I have seen that a connected vehicles, that is an electric vehicle internet of vehicles, which is connected through internet. A vehicle can generate near about 30 to 40 gigabyte of data in a duration of 5 to 6 hours per day. So we can see that trillions bytes of data are there. So we have to manage this data, but this data, as per the graph in figure 2, we can see the graph of the data also. So these data cannot be managed single-handedly by the cloud server, because we know the cloud is huge, but the main problem is the distance between the end user and the cloud. We don't know where the cloud server is situated and where the end user is there. The actual distance between the cloud server and the user is huge. So to solve this problem, what Cisco have done, Cisco have coined a term that is fog computing, or it is also known as edge computing, that deploys data center on the edge of the network, delivering location flexibility, low latency, as well as the low energy consumption. See, the cloud server is much more means the distance between the end user and cloud server is means not known to all. So that if the distance is high, the data transmission, the delay of data transmission as well as the energy consumption will be high also. As a result, the QoS, the quality of service, will be degraded. So what fog computing does is, fog computing decentralizes the system, such as with cloud computing. Generally, fog computing is deployed in between the in cloud layer and the end user layer. So it is between the cloud layer, a three-layer architecture is there. I will shortly come on the architecture layer of the fog computing. So generally, fog computing is deployed to overcome the latency issues because of the significant physical gap between the data center, as I told that, and the end user. The cloud computing experience is a major drawback, causing the network congestion, end-to-end data communication, massive data processing, connectivity cost. Everything is high in cloud computing. So fog computing has been proposed as an alternative to traditional cloud computing to assist the geographical distribution, high latency, and IoT applications with better service quality of services. So this is a standard architecture of fog computing. As we can see that it is a three-layer architecture. The layer one consists of the things, that is the Internet of Things or the IoT devices and the or the end users. This is the bottommost layer in the three-layered architecture. This layer contains the IoT-enabled devices such as sensor nodes, sophisticated mobile applications like all the mobile phones, tablets, smartwatches, etc. For example, second layer is the fog node, where what I was telling, the actual fog node or the fog server will be there in the second node. So that can be of one fog node or can be several fog nodes can be there. So the fog nodes can be these fog nodes can be any network devices like routers, switches, gateways. Any devices can be used as a fog device. And the third layer is the cloud layer. So cloud layer is the topmost layer that consists of traditional cloud server, cloud or the cloud data center. Generally, it is assumed that the cloud server has huge storage capacity when compared to the fog server. So why we need fog computing? I have already elaborated that the ability of current cloud model is insufficient to handle the requirements of IoT because IoT is generating lots and lots of data. The main issues are volume, latency, and the bandwidth. So these are the challenges of using fog computing, that is privacy. As the fog servers are nearby, it is nearby the end users. So it is more accessible to the for the end users to access the fog nodes. So because of this, the sensitive informations collected by the fog nodes, there can be privacy issues. That can be the data in the fog nodes can be hacked very easily. Next is the security. Hello. Okay. Next is the security. Security means that the malicious users may use fake IP address, as we know the device, and if you know the IP address of the device, the IP address can be easily hacked. The network management is also there. Lots. If you have a fog device, lots of fog devices will be there. As fog devices can be heterogeneous devices. No, it is not an homogeneous devices. So managing fog nodes can be a overhead also. And placement of fog servers, it is same as placement of the IoT servers also. The placement of IoT servers or the fog servers can be in such way that it can deliver maximum number of services as per the local requirements. And delay and energy, it is the basic problem in all the network devices. and maintenance cost, as we will do a new thing, that is fog concept of fog is new, so the fog nodes can be deployed in internet of age. Massive maintenance cost is involved because so many fog nodes will be there near to us, so deployment and maintenance cost may be high in fog computing. So telling about the actual thing, that is the security and privacy issues. First one is trust and validation. So the most important key aspect in fog computing is to provide end user reliability and security services. So in order to achieve this, each and every device associated with the fog nodes should have a degree to trust among themselves. Both the fog nodes and the end users should validate to earn the trust level. So what we can see that in one hand, the fog nodes that provide IoT system services should be able to confirm that the requesting services are real. That is, they are coming from a legitimate source. In comparison, the end users devices sending data or other useful information along the data processing request should also be in the position that to test that means they are sending the data to the actual location, means they should know about the server also. They should have the knowledge about that actual fog server also, where they are sending the data. Therefore, a strong trust model is needed so that the fog network can be reliable and and safe. So next, telling about the authentication, it is the major issue for the security of the fog computing, since fog nodes offers a large scale end-to-end services. So what does authentication means? That a device must be authenticated into the fog network in order to access the services by the fog network. Why this is important? Because this is important to avoid the unregistered nodes joining the network. Various authors have, as you can see that I have cited 2 papers here. So several papers are there. Several authors have suggested so many encryption standards like public key infrastructure, private key, etc., with multicast authentication for secure communications. However, traditional authentication based on the public key infrastructure is poorly scalable and inefficient. NFC can also be used in case of cloud-led, like that. So next, secure communication. The wireless network security is important for fog network also, because of the predominance of the wireless networking. Though it is possible to offload the storage and processing requirements to the fog nodes.
Sorry for the interruption, sir.
Yes.
10 minutes time period is over, sir. Can you conclude the work, sir?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this was some open research challenges of the paper that can be done in future also. Telling about the conclusions, that security and privacy problems, as we have investigated in cloud computing here in this paper. So due to some various different features and wider range of fog devices in the network, they are not all appropriate for fog computing, as we know. Even I am also working in the field of, this was a brief means review or survey in security and services that so many authors have used in their papers. These are some of the references. So many references is listed on the actual paper, but because of the space limit, I have listed some of the references from the paper here in this slide. Thank you.
Ma'am, you have any queries?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation, sir. You told about fog computing. Actually, these nodes are existing in different domain nodes, sir. How the security issue will be resolved? What is your plan? How you are going to focus your research work, sir?
So many security, so many algorithms are already existed in fog security. Though I am not working till now in security issues, I am working in offloading part and resource allocation part till now in fog computing, and I have worked. I already have 3 public ACF applications on that. The offloading part, how to minimize the delay and all, and the overall energy minimization, energy consumption. Mm, and the security part I am about to work, because to implement the security I was thinking of doing it practically, means using some hardware also. I will try to implement all these parts in hardware. So main focus will be the public infrastructure only, public key security. So private key is not at all feasible in the in today's area. So I will more focus in public key. So the base will be the public infrastructure. Next, I will decide in which algorithm I can carry forward.
In your previous work, what environment you are used? Sir? Is it a simulation or real-time environment?
Yes,
In your
please.
previous work, what environment you are used? Either it is a simulation environment or real-time.
Yeah. It was a simulation environment. I have worked in synthetic data only, or some legitimate data is there, like Google Trace data. Google has trace data. I have used that data for the simulation purpose. Real world implementation was not possible because collaboration is needed, and for the this a COVID outbreak, everything, no, it was not possible. But I am thinking now for a real world implementation for the mobile fog node.
Okay, what simulation environment you are used?
I have used simulation, means I have done in MATLAB, I have done in Python, some part in MATLAB, some part in Python, and some part in IFOG sim. IFOG simulator is there, IFOG sim.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
With this, our technical session 3 ends here. Now, I welcome all the dignitaries and participants to the valedictory function of ICETC conference. I would like to welcome Ms. Sumna Chakrabarti, Assistant Professor, Department of Computational Science, Brainware University. Next, I welcome Dr. Rajesh Bose, Associate Professor, Department of Computational Science, Brainware University. Welcome, ma'am and sir. And I also would like to announce the awards won by participants for each session. For the technical session 1, the best paper presentation award goes to Paramita Chatterjee for presentation on a review on usability of different learning management systems during COVID-19 pandemic. And the best paper award goes to Sustainable Student Engagement in Online Learning Environment using Machine Learning, presented by Somdeep Das. Congratulations, both of you. And for technical session 2, best presentation award goes to Shanmuga Priya, a study on shift in consumer behavior towards internet banking services during the pre and post COVID. And the best paper award goes to Nidhi Agnihotri and team, presented the title Design and Implementation of Social Distancing Monitoring Robot with Face Mask and Temperature Detection using IoT and its application. And for the third technical session, I would request Gomadi ma'am to announce the same.
Yes, ma'am. The best in the technical session 3, the best presentation award goes to Ankita Dar, a study on sentiment analysis using text summation. And then the best research paper award goes to Professor Vipin Mehta, examination of heat transfer and pressure drop characteristics of different fins geometry.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for being with us and throughout the session. And I congratulate all the award winners.
Thank you, ma'am. Shall I leave, ma'am?
Thank you, ma'am.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. So next, I welcome Ms. Sumana Chakrabarti, Department of Computational Science, Brainware University, to provide the vote of thanks. Welcome, ma'am. Hello? Sumanna, ma'am? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, so thank you. I welcome Ms. Sumana Chakrabarti, ma'am, for delivering vote of thanks.
Wait for a minute, please.
Sure, sir.
Hello. Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am, please proceed.
Sorry for the interruption.
No problem, please.
Okay, so it has been our pleasure to host all the enthusiastic participants of the second international conference on the emerging technologies in computing, organized by Brainware University, Kolkata, India, in association with the Institute for Engineering Research and Publications, IFERP. I am thankful to all the participants to attend the conference. We have been fortunate to have some of the eminent persons from academics, industry, and utility working in the area of computational science technology. I'm sure that the participants must have benefited by attending this conference. I'm very much thankful to the FERP journal. Without their generous support, it would not have been possible to organize this conference. I'm sure that the conference will continue to get generous support from various organizations in the futures also. I sincerely thank our chief patron, Mr. Falguni Mukhopadhyay, Chancellor of Brainware University, and our patron professor, Dr. Shankar Gangopadhyay, Vice Chancellor, Brainware University, for their enormous support and gracing their entire function. I'm also thankful to the conveners, Dr. Shondeep Roy, Associate Professor and HOD, Department of Computational Science, Brainware University, and Dr. Rajesh Bose, Associate Professor, Department of Computational Science, Brainware University. My thanks also goes to all the people who have given their precious time in organizing. In particular, I would like to acknowledge and thanks all co-conveners, all committee members, and those who have contributed directly or indirectly to this virtual conference on the emerging technologies in computing, ICETC 22. Thank you. Thanks to all.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, I welcome Dr. Rajesh Bose, Associate Professor, Department of Computational Science, Brainware University, to share vote of thanks. Welcome, sir.
Okay. Thank you all to the second international conference on the emerging technologies in computing, ICETC 2020, organized by the Department of Computational Science, Brainware University. We also thankful to Institute of
Sir, I guess you're having some network issues. So your voice is breaking.
I'm audible?
Yes, sir, please
I'm
continue.
audible? Hello?
Yes, sir, please continue. Your voice is a little bit breaking.
Okay, now audible?
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah. Thank you all to the second International Conference on Emerging Technologies and Computing, ICETC 2020, organized by the Department of Computational Science, Brainware University. We also thankful to the Institute of Engineering Research and Publication, IFERP, for supporting and
Rajesh sir?
Hello.
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah. And now audible?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Okay. The second international conference on the emerging technologies, computing and ICETC 2020-22, organized by the Department of Computational Science, Brainware University. We are also thankful to the Institute of Engineering Research Publication for supporting us to organize such a wonderful conference. Thank you everybody for participating in this wonderful conference. Thank you again.
Thank you, Rajesh sir. Thank you for the vote of thanks. Now, I would like to hear some feedback from the award winners and the participants of the session. Please feel free to share the feedback.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. My name is Shambhu Priya. I'm from Tamil Nadu, and I've been in the technical session 1 and I got the best presenter award. Thank you for the dignitaries and the faculty members for giving such a beautiful award and recognizing my presentation. And I congratulate all the coordinators and the Brainware University for accepting my paper and doing it wonderfully. There was no delay or lag in any of the presentation or any of the issue. I enjoyed the sessions, and I expect the same conference and invitations to continue in the future also. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your beautiful words. Anyone else, please? Anyone else? Okay, then I think we can close the
hello?
session. Yes, ma'am, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Nidhi Agnihotri and I presented the paper Design and Implementation of Social Distancing along with the face mask detection and temperature detection using IoT and its applications. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity, and for sure it would have not been possible without my teammates, and thank you for giving us this opportunity. We are very glad to get the Best Research Paper Award. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Congratulations to all winners once again. So I hope we can close the session. And I hope everyone, inclusive of your family members, are safe and doing well at this COVID pandemic. First of all, I congratulate you all for your active participation and successful conduction of the program. I am grateful to our Brainware University dignitaries, Professor Dr. Shankar Gangopadhyay, Vice Chancellor, Brainware University, Dr. Rajesh Bose, Associate Professor, Department of Computational Science, Brainware University, Dr. Sandeep Roy, Associate Professor and HOD, Department of Computational Science, Brainware University, Mr. Siddharth Kumar, Founder and Managing Director of Technored Group, and eminent keynote speakers, Professor Moshe Vardi, Professor Rice University, Houston, Texas, United States, Mr. Sai Sadish Babu, Senior Manager, R&D, Data Science and AI Engineering, Bangalore, Professor Dr. Tariq A. Rashid, CSC Department, School of Science and Engineering, University of Kurdistan, Hewler, KRG, Iraq, and technical session chairs for sparing valuable time and words of wisdom to IFERP team for their sincere support and cooperation. I thank all our ICTC organizing committee members for your efforts, and I express my gratitude to all the participants. Thanking you once again. Hereby, we'll wind up the session, and also the certificates and proceedings will be sent to all the participants' email ID within 72 working hours. If you have any other queries, please let me know, or please write to us or write down to our concerned conference coordinator. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you.